Thanks for doing this. It's good to see you.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good.
I'm excited to talk to you. We are just a few short weeks away from the new album. How are you feeling in this moment as we get there?
It's a weird, indescribable, interesting moment. You just put so much into something, and then it's just coming out, and you can't. It's just releasing it is part of the creative process. So it's not like you're done, and then here it is. It's like there's like a creativity to releasing it, and the conversation with people through the music is just pretty heavy. So you're just kind of like you're almost like tying everything down because you know it's about to get real insane. It's like that scene in Twister when the final Twister comes in Twister and they like tie the rope onto the thing. That's me right now.
I watched that movie so much as a kid. We grew up in Kansas, so that was like our movie kind of thing.
We grew up in New Jersey, and that was our movie.
Well, I'm excited for it. It's been a long time since we got a new album from you guys. How long have you been working on this one? Was it kind of like you wrapped up Gone Now and then jumped into the next one, or what was that process like for you?
To be honest, it's hard to quantify because albums are weird. It's like when I go back to it now and listen to the tapes of writing and recording, I'm like, oh, this was way more crystallized than I knew. But like, you could work on songs and you could fuck around forever, but it's a real moment when you start to see it and you start to see the framework, and then you start to set out on this path of, finishing it. But it's usually I felt that about midway through the pandemic is when I was like, oh, okay, all these things are coming together. I got it. I see it. I'm running forward. But now that I go back and listen, I a lot of things have been kicking around for a while. I just didn't know what I was doing. And sometimes you have to understand it before you can finish it.
Well, and surely you've had such a busy few years with your hands in so many different projects. Were you kind of going back and forth between all that kind of stuff?
There's almost two phases. There's the phase when you see it, that's a phase. And that can still take a year it almost in a weird way can be harder because you know what you're doing. And so you know what it has to be. But the phase before that is just like all these ideas are swirling around you. You're trying them in different ways. Like a perfect example, like Stop Making This Hurt. Like I've had that line just flying in my head forever. I didn't know what it was. Maybe it was a passing line. Maybe it was something simple. And then, then you have some music you've been messing with. Maybe the band's in, you're fucking around, and things just sort of like collide and hit each other. And all of these, because that's how you know if something's worth something. If it's just kicking around your head for a long time. That's one version of the process. The other version is sometimes you just sit down and write a song. And you're like, whoa, that just flew out. Didn't know where that came from, but God damn it, put a helmet on that. That's perfect. And that's really, for me, the two ways I work. Big ideas that have been zipping around, or just something happens in the moment.
Was there any, this might be a dumb question. Was there any Talking Heads influence on Stop Making This Hurt?
Could not be less of a dumb question. That is, yes. If that's a dumb question, then I'm a dumb.
No, I was like, maybe it has nothing to do with. I'm a huge Talking Heads fan though, so it was like
me too. The biggest influence. No, it's there. It's in the rhythms but the biggest influence was actually Dexy's Midnight Runner and like Waterboy is like sort of these like songs and artists and bands who were like, is this thing gonna fly off the rails? And it's like the whole song you spend being like, oh my God, they're on the edge of the cliff, and we don't go off the cliff, but I love that tension of like, are they gonna make it? Are they gonna get to the next chorus? This shit is wild, and a big part of that, to be honest, was also like the way the band played because we couldn't go play. I mean, we were feral. We were just playing our fucking faces off in a way that could have never happened in a world where we were just touring and didn't know that something that was our lifeblood could just be gone in an instant. So
yeah, you have all this like built up energy to get out.
Yeah, that's the story of the album. It's sort of like hanging on the edge of the cliff, and like we don't fly off, but that's where it's coming from.
Yeah, what did the pandemic? How did that affect the timeline? Because I remember you tweeted in January. That was before, we knew it was about to happen, right? And it said new Bleachers album coming in 2020. And then of course, the pandemic happened like right after that happened.
To be honest, it didn't. The pandemic changed the sound of the album. It didn't change, I think when I tweeted that I was maybe yelling in a mirror or something.
You're
think
putting it out there like the secret, like if it happens.
That's a more holistic, nice way to put it. I'll go with yelling in the mirror. Like, oh, really? Okay, tell us how you really feel. It's kind of like I think I was a little in the weeds at that point, so I just threw something like that out there to make it feel real. But the truth with albums is, you're done when you're done, and you can think this one's going to be easier, this one's going to be this, or I've learned so much, I can do this. But you're always a baby. You're always looking up and starting over, and it's always a mountain in front of you. So I thought that was true at the time. It turned out not to be, but that's also, like what it is to be an artist. Like, it's a very hypocritical process sometimes.
Well, we're glad it's almost out. It's a few weeks away.
I'm really excited. Yeah, and
so
I
excited.
Put it out if it wasn't ready. It just took me a little longer than I thought.
Sure. But no, I was thrilled though when we got Chinatown. That song is just absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you. I love that one.
And it was so exciting because we got kind of like a little, tease that Bruce Springsteen was going to be on it. And being a fan of you and knowing he's an influence for you, what's that like to have him on your song?
Which is beautiful. I mean, a lot of full circle feelings around it. He's probably the first artist I heard where I was like, I know what he's talking about, because I'm from New Jersey, so there was a literal sense of, I know the places he's talking about, but then the deeper sense of, I know the sentiments he's talking about. I know this feeling. When I would listen to the Beatles and Joni Mitchell or something like that, I would know the feeling emotionally, and I would connect it to my life. But when I first heard Springsteen records, I would say, I know that feeling. I know that feeling of like, I don't want to die here, but it's also a big part of my culture. So he's extremely influential in my work, and also a deeply important person in my life on a personal level. So it's just a very beautiful thing to have him be a part of ushering in this album.
Is that the first time he's been a part of one of your projects?
Yeah, I've never made music with him other than that.
Have you ever seen his Broadway show?
I did, and I actually I went to see it again recently, and it was the first time since the pandemic that I was back in the theater with people, and it was almost too heavy to talk about. It's just, there's such a remarkable lack of cynicism out there right now, and it's beautiful.
The first show I was actually at since the pandemic, I just bawled my eyes out.
Yeah, it's really, it's super heavy. And I think live music has always been an incredibly non-cynical place. Nobody goes to a show cynically. No one's like, I'm going to get in my car, I'm going to spend money, I'm going to do this, I'm going to wait online and do all these things just to see if this band sucks. No one does that. It's church when you get there. It's weeding out all the bullshit, anyone with a hot take or a feeling or this, they're all gone. It's just the people who really care and are invested in what's happening. And there's that give and take that's beautiful. That's why it's my favorite place to be. It's an ideal world, like we've gathered the people who are like us, and we've gotten in one room and we're celebrating and creating new things. And so my point is, it's a beautiful, heavy, non-cynical place before the pandemic. I haven't played a show yet. I don't know what the hell is going to happen. Maybe my head will explode, but I can't wait.
Well, hopefully not. Yeah. Yeah, we're excited about the tour. We're going to see you in October. Also, Shadow the City is on, right? It's happening.
It's on. I mean, it's all on. It's all happening, and it's on, and everyone's coming, and that's that. And we can't wait.
Is that going to be your first show? Because isn't the tour after?
Might do a few things before, but that'll be the real kickoff. And what's special about that show is, in 2019 we announced it for 2020, so we sold all the tickets in 2019. 20 it got pushed, obviously, then we pushed it again. So there's going to be 4,500 people out there who have been holding on to these tickets for 2.5 years. It's beautiful. It's just going to be bizarre.
I bought tickets in June of 2019.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's like the shit it's like the vibe of what's happening squared on fire. It's like, we've all been waiting, we've all been through this, but this one is like, that's crazy. Like, everyone in that audience is gonna have been holding those tickets since before the pandemic. It's insane.
Mm-hmm. I'm so excited. That's gonna be so much fun. Is there anything, so after that you're gonna go on tour, I've been asking people this lately. Is there anything from tour that like maybe you found slightly annoying before? Not annoying, but something that you now miss, but that you never thought you would miss.
There's definitely things that I thought were annoying, and now I'm kind of like, fucking bring them. Well, actually, I mean, but I never really cared. I always loved every inch of it, even when it was stressful. But that's part of it. You know, something's too easy, then who cares?
I asked somebody that question recently, and they were like, I miss airport security a lot. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what
I don't know about that, but sure.
Yeah, that's a little far, but
yeah.
But stuff like that, I think we all went through stuff. We stopped doing certain things completely for a really long time. And it's like, I never thought I would miss that, but I do now.
I mean, there's lots of things that are a pain in the ass about tour, but whatever gets me to the stage where I can be with my people is nothing isn't worth that.
Yeah, well, I'm so excited to see you guys live again. The album is out very soon. Is there any one specific song that maybe we haven't heard yet that is most meaningful to you?
The album ends with a song called "What Do I Do with All This Faith," and it's really, I've never had a song tie up the entire point of the album in a more perfect way. I usually leave them kind of open and like sort of not trying to sort of one up whatever's happened, but I just got this song and it came to me and it really just nails it all. It's like this, you kind of have to hear it, but it's such a end piece. I've never had it before, so it really is special to me right now. It always changes.
Yeah, every time an album comes out, I have a different favorite like every day. Yeah. So, but then there's one that stays pretty much after you hear it several times.
Totally. There's like my initial favorite, then the one that was always my secret favorite. It always is, especially for me when I'm making them, they all hold these like really important places, and they're all these pieces that work with each other that it's kind of impossible to separate them.
What is the people are getting tattoos and stuff of like the tomato symbol?
Tomato is the New Jersey state vegetable.
There you go. Okay.
But the tomato is not a vegetable; it's fruit, and I think that's interesting and funny. There's these icons. There's the car, there's Cadillac, there's broken bottle, there's the bleachers, and there's tomato. There's sort of these four totems or icons of the album, and they all represent different things. Bleachers, obviously, the band. Tomato is where I'm from, and the sentiment, the music. This is the broken relationship, and then there's running away from it all, which is the car. But the tomato is just sort of taking on a life as, this album.
Yeah. What is it like to see people get tattoos of like your band? What is that like?
It makes you feel connected to them. I mean, that's how I feel about the band, is that deep. So it makes me feel like we're just in a very, very intense back and forth relationship where, and it's also, people get really meaningful tattoos. It's always like a symbol or like a really special lyric. So it's like all these things are connecting on a pretty deep level.
I just got my first tattoo on Saturday, actually.
What is it?
It is meaningful, I promise.
Okay,
from the Simpsons.
Oh, Bart. Awesome. I have a
Bart's
Simpsons
like evil twin
drawing in the studio that I made from when I was 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it with my sister on Saturday, my twin
That's
sister.
Awesome. No shit.
And since they're twins, we were like, she got the regular Bart and I got the scary Bart. So speaking of, meaningful tattoos, this is on my arm forever, but I love it.
Sick.
So
can't wait to see it in person.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm excited for October. And a few weeks, the album is out. I cannot wait.
Thanks for all the support.
Everything we've heard so far has been great. So we're excited to hear the rest of it.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.